So I got into an argument either yesterday or the day before. I think it was the day before, um, via social media on Bradley Manning being released from military prison. I was fed up, as I am with all stories related to the media, of it being simplified to the point of complete stupidity, where they're just obsessed with hammering home simplistic facts. And you get people who think they have an alternative opinion on the subject, but they're massing, they're grouping, and it really isn't. It's an old mind trick. They believe what the propaganda has got them to believe. For starters, I think it is completely stupid that if you type in Bradley Manning or whatever on a Google search engine, or I guess any search engine, uh, Chelsea Manning is the first thing that appears. Like, that's one of the things they hammer home. He's transgendered, he's this, he's that, and I don't care. And I bet a lot of other people don't give a damn what he had to do in the way of sexual fashion in military prison. They just keep hammering home the fact that he is now Chelsea Manning, and that's part of the story of who he is. There's two major stories about this guy, and that's all the world will ever know of him. There's a vague story of him leaking sensitive military documents to sources like WikiLeaks. I've not looked into it. I can't be bothered. It's part of that waste your time propaganda machine that I just, you know, use your common sense and detect what's really going on here. And the other thing was transgenderism. Those are the two things they're going to remember about Manning. And yes, he most certainly had it rough in prison. He was seen as a traitor. There were a lot of people in there who don't like snitches, and uh, sucking dick and growing your hair long, it doesn't garner you any real respect. You just become a sperm dumpster. Uh, and I don't see how that's relevant to anything. If he leaked sensitive documents of a military operation, which he will have only have done because he got the opportunity, not because he's particularly smart. In fact, he's a total idiot. Because had he been smart, he would have had the hindsight to know that basically he's going to hell for doing what he did. And this bloated sense of self-righteousness would have gone right out the window. In fact, part of that is egotism. He wanted to be the hero, the knight in shining armor, to expose and defeat the evil of what he perceived in his tiny little world of what evil was. Some things that the military does, people ain't got to know. And you don't want to know either. I don't want to know. As long as it ain't happening my way, I don't care. These are serious people. You're not going to convince them otherwise, man. And pissing them off is not. I wouldn't advise it, to be honest with you. Um, so anyway, I just I googled his name, and I did note something that was kind of funny because sometimes the English language is a little bit goofy, a little bit silly sometimes, and I'll show you why. Well, here's me shooting my video. Hey, look, it's kind of like I'm going into like a vortex or something, isn't it? Ooh. But anyway, I'll show you the Google search. And we'll look over here. Chelsea Elizabeth Manning is his name now. Is a United States Army soldier. Is a United States Army soldier. Not was, as in past tense. Years of service, active duty 2007 to 2010. 2017 to present. Confinement 2010 to 2017. What that tells me is that he was in confinement for 7 years, correct? But it's also saying that 2017 to present means he's still active duty. And I guess for a propaganda machine, I guess that's entirely accurate. Again, hammering home the simplistic message. Transgenderism, vague notion of leaking documents and footage and whatever. Like I've Googled it, where you look into exactly what did he say. That's what's important. I don't care if he sucks dick in prison. He does what he wants. It's got nothing to do with me. And then basically there's a video with like night vision or something like that of army helicopters shooting some I don't even know, are they Iraqis or Afghanis? I don't know, and I don't care. It's not, hardcore real footage. It isn't. That's just common everyday stuff. He was able to leak information to people that the military establishment did not want him to. But he didn't enlighten people. He didn't expose the truth. He may have thought he was doing that at the time, but the reality is he just gave it to a different bunch of assholes, and they were able to use it as political leverage. And all he did really, copy and paste, send to some assholes, and that's all he did. He was opportunistic, not intelligent. He just saw a vulnerability, had the chance, and took it, without thinking of what could possibly happen to him afterwards. And that reminds me, he's been freed from prison, but he's entered a world of prison without cell doors. And what I mean by that is they're going to put him somewhere. They're going to put him somewhere where he's an environment where the environment dictates what he does, and over time it will condition him to behave the way they want him to. Like, on his first day free, he posted a message on social media saying, my first pizza, and I guess many years, and it was a generic, like, looking pizza. Like, it had a couple of slices of pepperoni on it, like no cheese. It was basically bread with a couple of pieces of pepperoni on it. And Jason Unruh goes, he says, oh, and somebody posted a comment on his video saying, why don't you go vegan? And he goes, yeah, the man just spent a whole pile of time in prison where he's probably being beaten and raped and stuff like that. Why don't you cut him a break? When you've been punished the way he has, you stop caring if some douchebag says, why don't you go vegan, or trolls any of your social media accounts. Stuff like that. It's inconsequential. You don't care. And that's the least of his worries. Like I said, he's going into a controlled environment. Maybe they give him a job somewhere, doing who knows what, being paid who knows what. But he's going to have a circle of people around him who are obsessive compulsive. And he just will not be able to talk his way out of the situation, because they've all been prepped. They've all been prepared to how to deal with him and push him along. I mean, he didn't get executed for being a traitor, which would have happened, in World War II times, but he'll never make something of himself. He screwed over the wrong people. And in doing so, All he will ever be known for, as I said, transgenderism and leaking files that us common folk, we don't even know what he said, really. And he could have any other impediments put upon him that we don't know about. What if they say it's mental illness? You're a crazy person if you're going against the government in such a fashion. Therefore, we're making you take medicine that's going to do this to you. And if you don't do it, then you're going to jail again. As a hypothetical, I don't know. Like, none of us know. I'm just saying, you don't do such things on such a grand scale, and then when you're released from prison, off you go. You're free to do what you want. Enjoy the rest of your life. We won't bother you. No, that's not how it works. They may not come out and say we're government officials, we're watching you, although in his case they probably are. But they will be watching him forever, for the rest of his life. And they'll get him in little ways that the people around him will either look the other way, they won't care, or maybe even be active participants in his grief. Life's not going to be easy for that guy. I don't particularly care because he compromised the security of Western powers. So I feel whatever judgment the United States government makes against him will be just and be fair. They can be very harsh, that is true, but he did a very, very stupid thing. And, I could continue on this conversation. There are other aspects of it as well that I could bring up, but I still ain't got my new computer yet, so that's an issue. I will revisit this topic because it'll become old news by the time I get my computer. I actually got an email saying it's going to be a while, which was a bit of a piss off, but that's just the way how it works. But anyway, I'll revisit this topic because although it'll be old news for us by then, it most certainly will not be old news for Manning. Manning's going to have to live with this news for the rest of his life. In a sense, his life is over. He's gone to hell. And the hell can be different things for different people, but for him, it's a place you don't want to go. Anyway, talk to you guys later. Have a good one.